Get a Job in Tech, episode 137. Today I heard something on the radio, and it goes like this. It is dealing with, talking about knowledge or teaching or something like this. Knowledge or whatever. IT knowledge, right? And the person said, use it or lose it, but I can't make you choose it. I thought that was very profound to hear that. At any rate, so the reason for my podcast today, this is what I'm going to talk about. Yesterday I was on I was on a YouTube, and I was just chatting, and this podcast, or this YouTuber, Kevin, I think his name is Kevin IT. Kevin IT, if you're out there, shout out right to you. At any rate, on there was 4 individuals, and they were talking about IT, help desk, technology, getting a job, and all that stuff. And we're out there. A lot of us are out there trying to help folks get jobs in tech and IT. And there's not just one person, not just one fit. Everybody's different. Everybody relates to somebody else in a sense like that. Anyway, on there, I could immediately tell one of the people was introvert, because as you may not know this, I am a former introvert, actually. To be honest with you, I just don't want to talk about it a lot. Anyway, and I could kind of tell. You could kind of tell, right? Okay, so here's the picture, right? So there's 4 people on the screen, and the top right-hand side or top left-hand side, the person's kind of sit back a little bit. The camera's not near the person, and that's one indication. Second indication, the face, the facial expressions, the just the quiet, almost like it's almost like robotic response to things. Very non-animated, very just like, okay, I'm here and waiting patiently, right? One thing you may not know this about people: most people are introverts. Most people are introverts, actually. That's the default. People are raised default to be introverts, actually, in the whole world. This is what I see anyway, in my view. I see mostly introverts out there. And actually, oddly enough, in the IT field, there's a lot of introverts, oddly enough. I'm going to tell you a story. There's a guy I know, his name, I won't tell you his name, but he works in Walmart. Okay. I've talked to you about him before, obviously. He works at Walmart. The guy has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, right? He works at Walmart. So he didn't like his other job, so he worked at Walmart. And then he said he was going to do a CCNA course. He's taking a CCNA course. He took that. He got his CCNA in July or June, right, of this year. So how do I know that? The other day I was at Walmart, and I was just walking by, and hey, and this individual said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Oh, hi, how you doing? How you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I got my CCNA." I said, "Oh, congratulations! Awesome, good, And then I just, "Oh, that's great, And then before I could say anything, he said, "Well, I'm getting my Security Plus because I need another cert because they, to get a job or whatever, right?" I was like, "Okay, that's cool. That's great. Good job." And I didn't say anything. And I said, "Okay, hey, thanks, appreciate it." And I left. And so the thing about that is, why is this person working? So this is July, what is it, 4 months, 5 months, whatever, right? Why this person has the CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate, and still working at Walmart? Like, really, that's a puzzling question to me. And I generally don't. I have an idea, but I'll tell you my thoughts on it, right? I'll tell you my thoughts on it. It's one, the person doesn't know what they don't know. They have a CCNA, yes, but they don't know what they don't know. The other thing is, most likely this person's an introvert, and he is an introvert, actually. You can tell he's an introvert. And so the reason I bring this whole thing up, this is the reason I bring this whole thing up. If you're an introvert out there, it's going to be very hard for you to get a job in IT. Very difficult. Unless you do these things. Unless you do certain things. Okay. One, when you go out there for an interview, really, you go on as many interviews as you can. The reason you go on as many interviews as you can is because you want to really understand the person you're interviewing with. You want to read their mannerisms if you can see them. You want to read the room if you have to do a face-to-face interview or whatever. And the more interviews you go on, you're going to feel not overwhelmed, because most likely it is introvert. You don't talk about yourself much, and you're quiet and meek, and they're like, you know, and you may be having a person on the other side who is an extrovert, right? You could be dealing with an introvert as well. You don't know, but you go in as many interviews as possible. The reason you do that is so you can get over that initial shock, because they're going to hire you on your personality. They're going to hire, because how do you translate a person's introvertedness into a job? If you don't talk much and you're quiet, they don't know. You could be the best IT person out there in the whole world, but if you don't talk and you don't express yourself and you don't make it known, they're not gonna hire you. Plain and simple. And if you're introvert, most likely you're not going to be willing to put yourself out there in a course or anything like this to just express your knowledge, your technical expertise. Basically separate yourself from your competition, essentially. So maybe you might have a course on Udemy, on Teachable, something like that. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, anything that you can do to express that you know what you're talking about. Because you go in an interview and okay, they see that you have maybe a cert, or maybe they see you have some IT experience, and maybe there's 20 other people, right? Okay, they're looking at. And if they don't, if you're just quiet and shy, that may not be, they may not want to hire you just based on that. And I don't think a lot of people even talk about that type of stuff in the interview. They just talk about technical skills. Really, it's getting past the personality really as well. Okay, is this person talking? Imagine if you're help desk, right? And your job is to talk to people. You call people, you talk on the phone, you troubleshoot whatever. If you're an introvert, so their thinking how they've been taught or whatever is introverts don't do well. Introverts just be left alone. They're in their quiet room. They're over there on the corner, just doing their own stuff. And okay, don't even bother hiring that person. No, we don't want that headache. We don't want. They don't take action. They don't take risk. They don't speak out in meetings. No. Let's not. No. Let's. They don't interact with other coworkers and express their opinions and ideas. That's what they think. That's what they think an introvert. That's their idea of an introvert. And unless you change that, unless you tell them otherwise, they're not going to hire you. It's going to be difficult, basically, for them to hire you, really. You also got to factor in, if you're an introvert and you're coming from a field that's not IT and you're going into IT, that's even more of an overwhelming thing for you, because you may not even have. It's also a confidence thing as well. That's also a thing, confidence. If you're not confident in what you're doing in that field, like you're going on IT, you're going to be like, wow, what's going on? Whoa, I don't know. And I suspect that this is what's going on in the person in Walmart, because that person's never worked in the IT field. And of course, I told this individual way back, like last year, and I said, long before he has CCNA and he was still doing the training, right? And I mentioned to him, hey, said, man, go on a bunch of interviews right now, so that you're readily available, ready, you're ready for the job, and then you get your practice in. And that's what I say to you, everybody listening out there. Go on interviews as much as possible. It doesn't matter if it's in your same city. It doesn't have to be in your same city. It can be anywhere in the United States or the world or wherever you're from. Just go on as many interviews as possible. That way you get over this anxiety that you have, or this, whatever you call that. I guess it's anxiety or overwhelming fear of, oh, I don't know, I don't know, so I don't want to make a mistake, or could be anything really. But get over your introvertness, basically. Unfortunately, I've seen what an introvert can do to a company, unfortunately. For instance, I worked at a place a couple jobs ago, and this individual did get a ticket in to do a restore, actually, for a server. And this individual would Just not even. They just say, "Oh, I can't find it," right? And they put the ticket in, and they say they couldn't find it, and then they would send it to me. And and I I finally told him. I said, "Did you try calling the person?" No. Well, maybe the person put the ticket in and put the wrong server in, or they don't know the server name. Maybe you have to jump on a remote session with them to walk through with them and kind of figure out what they're asking. They didn't do that. So they gave me, of course, they gave me the ticket. They always give me the ticket, right? And what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? The first thing I do, the very first thing I do, I look. Can I find it? No. I don't pass up somebody else. I go and I say, okay. I call the person. Most of the time, I just call the person directly anyway. Anytime I do like a restore, I just call the person because I want to know really, is this what they really want? Do they really want this? Is it in this folder? Is it in this server name? Like 99% of the time, that's what I do. I call the customer. Hey, what's I see they have a ticket in. Let's talk about it. So if you can imagine, right? You're a company owner, and obviously they don't know that was happening. They probably didn't care either, by the way, because the company's so big. They're like, okay, whatever, right? But imagine you're a smaller company, 20 people, right? And every person in the company, that margin of profit is so small that everybody has to really be on their A game. And why would I, as a employer who has 20 or 30 people, why would I spend my time? Why would I hire somebody who's just kind of like, if I'm a tech support, I call my customers all the time, why would I hire somebody who's an introvert? I would really try to weed that out. I'd like, no, I don't want the headache, right? Okay, having said that, let me talk about some so-called extroverts, right? So the so-called extroverts, right? You'll see them, and they're in the IT field as well, or they're in wherever, right? These are the persons who you talk to them, and you're like, oh yeah, right, go, right? And then they don't do anything. They don't do anything. For instance, like they might say, yeah, let's okay, let's do this. Let's get this going. Okay, I'm gonna call you. We're gonna troubleshoot. We're gonna figure it out. And then they ghost you. They don't even call you. And this is it's a constant thing. I know an individual actually, right? So working with this individual who's like, yeah, really happy, talking, right, and all this other stuff, joyful, extra, right? And talking, but it comes time to do the work, they're ghosting. Like, oh no, I got busy, I gotta do this. Oh no, I got busy, I gotta do this. Oh, I had to do this. I gotta do this now. Okay. That's just as just as dangerous to a company, right? So usually those people they get hired to be managers, right? Because they talk good, they whatever, right? But they don't do anything. Yeah, they're an extrovert, but they don't do anything. They're nothing substantial. Usually a lot of your government employees are like this, actually. The ones who become managers in government, usually this is how they are. They talk a good game, but they can't back it up. They can talk about like Active Directory, right? Or something like that, but they can't go deep into it. They don't know the ins and outs. They don't know the intricacies. They just know what they read on the internet, right? And they've created a user or something like that, but that's it. They don't go deep into it, and they wouldn't know how to say troubleshoot on a. They wouldn't know how to say, fix a big issue basically, and like help desk or Active Directory or sysadmin or something like that. They wouldn't know how to do that, and they wouldn't think to call. Sorry, they wouldn't think to like go on to, spend like 30 minutes researching and all that stuff. No, they just, oh, hey, I'm dealing with this. Let me get back with you, and they pass it off. And maybe it's 2 days later, and they say, oh, the ticket's still in the queue, and they haven't gotten to it or whatever. And because they talk a good game, but they don't produce. They're not producing anything. It takes them 2 or 3 days to do the simple task or whatever. Like, come on, really? What you're talking a good game, but then you get the ticket and you're not doing anything about it. What's going on? This is simple. Why can't you do it? Why? So that's just a quick point I wanted to point out to quick knowledge, my little world, my knowledge, basically giving it to whoever out there who wants to take it, hold it. If not, send it back. Thank you very much and have a great day.